Hi, Captain Pete Raps here, and we had a great day of fishing down in Chokoloskee Island, Florida today, and we had opportunity to catch a nice 60-pound bull shark. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a recipe today that is a coconut curry Thai shark recipe. It's one of the many recipes that I know, and I hope you stick around, watch how it's done. You're gonna really like this recipe. So what I like to do is I cut all these into about, maybe 1-inch pieces. We've got about 2 pounds of shark here altogether. So these little bite-sized nuggets are what's gonna work out best for this recipe. Okay, we're just about done here, cutting our last chunk up. And what we're gonna do now is all of these shark chunks now have to get put into a brine solution and soak for about 8 or 10 hours. Get a nice bowl, 1 quart of water, and then we've got a 1/4 cup of kosher salt, a 1/2 cup of lemon juice in there. They are going to stay in here refrigerated for 8 to 10 hours. So this is actually something that you can do if you're doing it during the week and you have to go to work. You can do this in the morning before you go to work, and it'll be actually perfect timing-wise. Okay, so what we're going to do now is take this, cover it with a plastic wrap, and we're gonna cover it, put it in the refrigerator for about 10 hours. Here's what it looks like after it's been soaking for about 10 hours. You can see it's a little white around the edges, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Okay, so now we're gonna take this and we're gonna rinse it off in the strainer really good. And we're rinsing it really good because we have that, it was in that salt brine solution, so we're gonna try to get most of that out of there. Again, we use kosher salt, so it's not going to really penetrate and make everything really salty as if you used like regular table salt. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna put them in another bowl lined with a paper towel so that they get a chance to dry and kind of drain a little bit as we're moving on to the next step of the recipe. So now that we have our shark chunks in here, we're gonna let them drain in the paper towel. I'm gonna just put them to the side for a little bit now, and we're gonna get into cutting up the vegetables. So what the recipe basically calls for now is 2 different peppers. We have 1 red and 1 green. So I'm just gonna slice those up into small slices so that we can cook them down and get them going in the recipe. The next item that we're gonna cut up is a large Vidalia or a sweet type of onion. They cook really good in this dish. The dish is a little bit sweet, so I do like to use a sweet onion in there. And the same thing, we're just gonna cut thin slices. We're gonna go ahead and chop up our scallions, and we're just taking these scallions and cutting small, little crisscross chunks out of it. Okay, so these scallions are all cut up, and we got about a 1/2 cup out of that. And the next ingredient are actually these sugar snap peas, and we're not gonna do anything with them. I've already rinsed them and cleaned them off real good. Those are good and fresh, and they'll go into the dish whole. Okay, so in addition to our nice fresh vegetables, we've got our other ingredients that we're gonna use to make the sauce. And right here we have some extra virgin olive oil, and we're gonna use about 2 tablespoons of that in the recipe. That's gonna go in the pan first that we're gonna cook the vegetables in. We have a good fish sauce, and this is actually something that you can get in any grocery store. They have it in the ethnic aisle by the Asian food. Adds a lot of good flavor to whatever you're cooking. It's got a little bit of salt in it, so normally when you're using this, you don't have to use any salt in your recipe. So that's a good item to add to that. We've got some brown sugar here too, and we're gonna put a 1/2 cup of the brown sugar in the recipe. Makes a nice sweet sauce whenever you're adding it to coconut milk, which we're gonna add 2 cans of coconut milk to the recipe. Here I've got some green curry. You can use red curry, massaman curry. I just really prefer green curry a lot more. It's very hot, so you want to go light on this. Start out a little bit lighter than you would think. I'm going to use about a tablespoon in the recipe. You can always add more if you like a little more heat. To thicken the sauce up a little bit as we're going, I've got a little bit of cornstarch, and I'll show you how that works out. We've got about a tablespoon or 2 of cornstarch in there. Another important ingredient to this recipe is my Captain Raps Estero Ginger Ninja seasoning. It's a Asian recipe. It's got a lot of good ginger, some garlic, a lot of good flavor ingredients in there that really goes good with this recipe. When it's all done cooking, we're going to cut up a couple avocados and put that on there, and we're also going to put some nice cashews in. We got about a cup of cashews. And that's it. We're going to go over to the stove and start cooking it up. Okay, so what we've got over here is we've got a pot that I put on high heat, so it's getting really warm right now, and I put in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're letting that heat up first, and then we're going to dump all the vegetables in there at once and just kind of let them simmer in there for about 5 minutes. We don't want to overcook them, we just want to get them a little bit soft. So I'm just going to kind of stir them around here, and we're going to cook them on high heat for just about 5 minutes. Again, we just want to get them a little bit soft without overcooking them. Okay, so now the vegetables have cooked for just about 5 minutes. I turned the heat down a little bit. They're at a good point right now. We're going to make our sauce. So the first thing we have to do is put in our 2 cans of coconut milk. I'll go ahead and just dump those in there. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in our fish sauce. And we're going to put a ½ cup of brown sugar in. We're going to put a little bit of the heat in there. It's time to put the green curry in, about a tablespoon's worth. Now I want to go ahead and put in the Captain Rap's Estero Ginger Ninja seasoning. So I'm going to stir that around a little bit here, just to kind of get the ingredients blending a little bit. What we want to do is we want to make this sauce a little bit thicker. So what I like to do is take some cornstarch, mix it in with some water first, and then pour it in there, and it'll give us a nice, rich, thick sauce. I'm going to go ahead and pour that right into our pot here. So that'll thicken that up really quick. And now the last thing that we add to this are the cashews. So I've got about a cup of cashews measured out right here, and we're just going to set those right in there. And that's it. Okay, so now the next step is we're gonna take our shark chunks and we're gonna dip them in an egg wash. Then we're gonna dip them in the panko breadcrumbs, which I'm going to season with a tablespoon of my Captain Rap's Bonita Bayou seasoning. And the reason I chose this seasoning today is because it's my hottest one. It's very spicy. It's gonna go really good with this dish. Then we're gonna bring everything over to the pan, and we're gonna pan fry the shark bites in just a little bit of olive oil, and we're almost done. Okay, so now we've got everything cooked, it's ready to go. We're gonna dish it up and we're finally gonna eat. This is gonna be great. And I start out by putting in just a little bit of the sushi rice, just enough to coat the bottom of the bowl right there. And then we're gonna take some of our great coconut curry and vegetable sauce and kind of just load it right up in there. Make sure we get at least a little bit of everything in there. Some of those red peppers and green peppers and onions and those cashews. And something like that looks good. And then we're gonna take our shark nuggets and we're just gonna kind of place them on top here. That way they stay really crispy until you're ready to eat and serve them. And the last thing we're going to do is put a little avocado, a couple avocado slices on each one. Kind of gives a really good flavor to it. And that's about it. That's what we're gonna eat. Looking good. Captain Rap's here. I hope you enjoyed watching what we had to cook today, and love to get you out on the boat so you can catch a few of these shark on your own. So if you log on to my website at www.captainraps.com, we'll book you a charter in Chokoloskee, Florida, get you out on the water for a great day, and I'll show you how to cook these all on your own. Have a great day.